Is there anyone who hasn't struggled to find a bathroom while traveling in Europe? Not only are there almost no bathrooms on the streets or in subway stations, but even the ones you find are mostly pay-to-use. In cafes where you go for a coffee, restaurants where you eat, and department stores where you shop, more and more places are asking for a usage fee. This inconvenience is not just felt by tourists. Locals are also dissatisfied as many public toilets closed during the COVID-19 pandemic remain shut, exacerbating the bathroom shortage. According to a survey by the German broadcaster MDR, a staggering 80% of respondents said the lack of public toilets in urban areas is a serious problem. The difficulties are particularly acute for the elderly, women, and children who find it harder to hold in their bodily functions. With toilet paper provided only in paid toilets, costing around €1, about 1400 won, the financial burden is not insignificant. Why is it that wealthy European countries with world-class welfare systems are so stingy when it comes to toilets? Firstly, it's important to note that Europeans are accustomed to environments without readily available toilets and the concept of paying to use them. Until the mid-19th century, European cities were virtually giant open toilets. Public toilets were rare, and even homes seldom had them, so people often relieved themselves on the streets, regardless of gender, even during the day. When it rained, the streets turned into rivers, and it was not uncommon to see people carrying their spouses across the roads to avoid stepping in waste. Residents of the second floor frequently dumped chamber pots directly into the streets, leading to the popular use of umbrellas and cloaks to avoid getting splashed. Ironically, Europe has a long history with flush toilets. The Minoan civilization in Crete had flush toilets as early as 2000 BC, featuring stone seats with water running beneath them to carry away waste. The Romans further advanced this technology, creating a highly developed toilet system. They installed sewer systems in their cities, connecting flush toilets to these networks. By the 4th century, Rome had over 400 public toilets. However, with the fall of Rome, the advancements in toilet technology were lost to medieval Europe. The rise of Christianity and its emphasis on asceticism led to the suppression of bodily desires, including cleanliness and bathing. Consequently, Roman bath culture was abandoned as it was believed that nudity could provoke lust. This shift brought about a rapid decline in hygiene and cleanliness in Europe. Even medieval medical beliefs exacerbated the situation, claiming that bathing was unhealthy. As Europeans distanced themselves from bathing, their bodies produced strong odors masked only by the use of perfumes, yet they couldn't avoid frequent outbreaks of epidemics. With the disappearance of baths, indoor toilets also vanished. The Protestant Reformation in the early 16th century dealt another blow to hygiene practices. As religious tensions rose, Europeans began to avoid any contact with water, leading to the absence of toilets even in palaces. This resulted in European cities becoming filled with filth. The Palace of Versailles, housing over 5,000 people, including the king and nobility, famously had no toilets, a reflection of the era's conditions. The practice of charging for toilet use also dates back to ancient times. In 74 AD, Rome faced financial difficulties due to continuous wars and the construction of the Colosseum. To alleviate this, Emperor Vespasian introduced a fee for public toilet use and imposed heavy fines on those who relieved themselves elsewhere. When criticized for this unpleasant policy, Vespasian famously responded, "Money does not stink." The English word toilet also has roots in pay-to-use public toilets. In Paris, when people urgently needed to relieve themselves, they would call for a toile. A person with a cloak would then appear with a large container. The word toile means cloak in French, and during use, the cloak would cover the person for privacy. This portable paid toilet concept traveled to England and evolved into the term toilet. Besides the historical context, there are practical reasons for the shortage and paid use of toilets in Europe. Firstly, there are many old buildings in European cities, some over 200 years old. The narrow and complex streets, along with the solid stone buildings, make installing new toilets challenging and expensive. Moreover, Europe's hard water, rich in limestone, frequently clogs pipes, necessitating costly replacements and maintenance. Cultural attitudes towards toilets also differ between Europe and other regions. In many places, toilets are considered public facilities maintained by taxpayer money. In Europe, however, there is a strong principle that the user should pay. Paying to maintain cleanliness in toilets is considered reasonable. In France, toilet attendants, often called Madame Pipi, manage and clean the facilities. While most are automated, the presence of a Madame Pipi reassures users about cleanliness. Toilets can also be a business item in Europe. In cities like Madrid, private companies build and manage public toilets. These are maintained well but come with higher usage fees. Vandalism, such as removing faucets or damaging sinks, is common, leading to an increase in private management. The rising number of homeless people is another reason for the resistance to building more public toilets. There is a belief that homeless individuals would occupy and dirty these facilities. Public toilets are also feared to be hotspots for drug use, deals, or even sexual crimes. Businesses and private buildings are reluctant to provide access due to potential liabilities in case of crimes. Thus, the lack of public toilets in Europe stems from a mix of historical, social, cultural, and practical factors. While travelers might briefly encounter these issues, locals endure daily struggles. Regardless of the reasons, it's perplexing why such a fundamental problem remains unresolved despite high taxes. This situation underscores